I have never been so nervous about making a recipe. Welcome back, my name is Lee from Lee's Kitchen. Today we're going to try the viral Dubia chocolate, and also I'm going to make a couple of other recipes with the leftovers. So welcome back to the channel. My name is Lee from Lee's Kitchen. Today we're going to attempt to make the Dubia chocolate. And what is the Dubia chocolate? It is this beautifully decorated chocolate, and it has this pistachio crispy center that just sounds absolutely amazing. So I've always wanted to try it, and I actually brought the ingredients last year, and then life happened. So I thought Easter's actually coming up, so I'm going to actually make some treats for Easter instead. Easter eggs are so expensive this year, so I thought this would be a great treat for everyone. So come along and we'll see if I can recreate it. So for the ingredients, there actually isn't many ingredients. So it looks actually pretty easy and everything, but the biggest thing for me is tempering chocolate. Now, I have never tempered chocolate in my life, but I just invested it in a sous vide machine. So I'm going to try sous vide some chocolate, and that's probably the most nerve-wracking part of it. Now, if you don't want to temper chocolate, you might be able to find some candy melts, some high quality candy melts that don't require tempering. So that might be an idea for you. Or else, if you don't temper it, you're not going to get that beautiful crisp, and it's just going to melt in your hands and everything. So I just want to go all the way and do it all properly, and hopefully I do a good job. So for the ingredients, we're going to need some pistachio cream, and that's usually in the Italian aisle. I actually got this from Costco. It was actually a pretty good price. I was considering making my own pistachio paste, but a little bag of pistachios was like $4. So I just went, it's already done, got it. We've got some tahini, which I'm gonna have to stir up before we use it. We're gonna need about 60 grams of butter, and then we're gonna need 2 blocks of chocolate. So you can use whatever chocolate you want. I'm just gonna use Cadbury, because this is what we had at the time that was on sale, so that's what I grabbed. But you can use any sort of chocolate that you want. And then we're going to need this filo pastry called Creami. And it kind of looks like rice noodles. And that is going to be the beautiful crisp center of this chocolate. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up my sous vide machine, and I'm going to heat this up to 48 degrees. And that is perfect for milk chocolate. If you're going to do dark chocolate, you want to add 2 degrees. So you want to heat up to 50 degrees. And if you're doing white chocolate, you want to take 2 degrees off. So you want to heat this up to 46 degrees. And now that is running. So the next thing, I have washed and I've also dried my chocolate molds. So what I've done is I've just put them into the air fryer on the dehydration setting at about 50 degrees for about half an hour. Make sure there's absolutely no water on them. And these are pretty deep, so that means we're going to get a good combination of chocolate and also the crispy center as well. So for the Creami, we're going to need 250 grams. So I've already weighed out 250 grams, and it comes in this long strand. All it is it's filo pastry that's been finely shredded up, and it actually comes like in like a beautifully long length. It just keeps going. And now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this into small pieces, and then we're going to fry it in a little bit of butter to crisp it up and everything. So we want to keep it pretty small because we're going to compact this into a small bar of chocolate. So we don't want it too big, but we don't want to make it so small that we're not going to have any texture or anything. So I'm going at about ½ an inch. All right, so all that is now chopped up now. Just want to break it up, make sure there's no huge strands or anything in there. And this actually looks like a lot, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to use all this in these 2 chocolate molds. If I don't, I'm going to probably make something. I've thought about, if you remember in your childhood, kind of like the chocolate spiders. except we're going to make them kind of gourmet adult style. All right, so next I've got a frying pan heating on about a medium heat. We don't want it too hot. And I'm going to grab about 60 grams, thereabouts, of butter. And I'm just going to melt this in our frying pan. All right, so now that butter is sizzling, now we're going to add the katafi to the frying pan and we're going to fry it off. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to coat all of this in that butter and we're just going to gently toast it off, and I'll bring it back once that is at that stage. Okay, so now we're going to make the filling. So I think the best way to do this is actually put the two liquids into here, stir them up, and then we'll add the katafi while it's cooling. So I did a bit of research and all the ratios and everything were a bit different and everything. So this is the easiest one that I found. So we're going to need half a cup of pistachio paste. That stuff looks absolutely amazing. So I'm going to call that half a cup. Then we're going to need a quarter cup of tahini paste. And we're going to add that one as well. All right, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a wooden spoon and just combine these together. The tahini should hopefully loosen up that pistachio paste a little bit. Now we're going to add our crispy phyllo. And now we're just going to stir this in. To this, I'm just going to add just a touch of salt because I did use unsalted butter. And there we go. We're going to set this aside and we're going to get onto the chocolate. That pistachio cream is so good. It's kind of like Nutella basically. Absolutely delicious. So now we're going to temper our chocolate, and this is the bit where I am most nervous at. I've never tempered chocolate before. So I'm going to take along and see how I go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this chocolate up into very fine pieces. So for each of these blocks, I'm going to put them into a separate Ziploc. And the reason why is, so then I'm going to have one bag ready for the bottoms of the chocolate. And then after I've put the filling in, I'll have another bag ready for the top. So easy done. All right, so I got them both chopped up into Ziploc bags. Now I'm going to make sure these are sealed properly. We're going to make sure no water gets in, or else I might as well just end it. And then I've got another Ziploc bag here, and what I thought is double layer protection. So I'm just going to sit that in the bottom there, like so. And now my sous vide machine has reached 48 degrees. I'm going to put these into the water, and we're going to keep it in there until all this chocolate has melted beautifully. And every now and then we want to give it a good massage and just make sure all that chocolate's melted. And then after that, we're going to go on to the next step. All right, so the chocolate has completely melted down now. So now we're up to the next step. So now what we're going to do to temper it is we're going to drop this temperature down to 26 degrees. And to do that, we're going to add some ice to it very carefully, just until it reaches that 26 degrees. And then as soon as it reaches the 26 degrees, then we're going to increase it back up to 30 degrees. And at this time, still give that chocolate a really good massage, and that's going to stop it from separating as we go to actually pour it. All right, and we're at 26 degrees now. So now we're going to increase this temperature. And I actually caught this at 26 degrees, which was absolutely perfect. So once it reaches 30 degrees, I'm gonna give it another massage. And then after that, from what I've read, tempered chocolate can stay at the 30 degrees for a period of time until you actually need to use it. So that's a great thing. It's not gonna harden while I'm waiting to do the other layers and everything. So now we're gonna get on to filling these molds, and pretty nervous about this. And I'm just going to start by going around the edges of the actual molds. And I'm just going to make sure there's sufficient chocolate around the edges. Because it's such a large amount of filling in it, that's where it's going to be the weakest. Well, that's a pity. We're definitely only going to have enough chocolate for one of these. But hey, if tempering chocolate isn't that bad, if this turns out, I'll do it again. All right, and then I'm just going to use a spatula. And just even all it out. The chocolate was glossy, so I'm happy with that. I'm even just going to try and just bring some more of that chocolate around the edges, just to really strengthen that. All right, so now we're going to let that cool, and I'll see you back when it has cooled and we can add the filling. All right, so we're back. I'll let this cool down in the fridge for about 10 minutes, just to make sure it was solid enough. Now we're going to fill it with the filling. So I'm just going to break this back up. It seems that the pistachio paste does set it a little bit. And we're just going to try to get one even layer into this. All right, so I've got that as even as I can now. So now we're going to add our chocolate on top, and we can start putting our single layer, paying particular attention to the edges. We do want to make sure we get as much chocolate down the edges as possible. And here's me thinking I'll get 2 molds done. So last of all, I'm just going to grab a spatula and just go over the top of this and get it as smooth as possible. All right, that is the best I'm going to get that. So I'm going to pop this into the fridge, let it set completely, and I can't wait to try it. So I had a little bit of an idea. So this probably would have yielded another chocolate bar. Now, I don't have the energy to go and temper another chocolate. It wasn't as hard as it sounds, but it does take a lot of time. So what I thought I'd do is I'd turn this basically into chocolate spiders. If you were a kid and you got the fried noodles and you basically melted the cheapest compound chocolate that you could find and just add them to that, and that was it. So what I thought was, I've got some dark chocolate here. This is just a store brand. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to melt it down. We're going to combine it with this, and then we're going to spread them out into little spiders, and they're going to be amazing snacks. And you know, you can take them to a party and give everyone a try of the Dubai chocolate without making whole bars. So it might be a great alternative. So what I'm going to do is I'm just put this into the microwave, and we're going to melt this until it is fully melted. All right, so I've just melted just over a block of dark chocolate, and I'm just going to pour this into here. Now I'm just going to fold this right through that chocolate. I'm just going to let this cool down just a little bit and then we're going to spread it out. Now, I was thinking, I have a Ninja Creami and so I've got a vanilla base in the freezer here. So this is about half full. And I thought, what if I put some of this and some of that delicious pistachio paste into this as an ice cream? Sounds amazing. So I'm going to let this defrost a little bit and we're going to try that out later. All right, so I'll let this firm up a little bit. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to pour out little disc of this. Now, unfortunately, because it's really fine, they're not going to stand up like the chocolate spiders. All right, I'm going to save the rest of that for the Ninja Creami. And then, because they've lost their green a little bit, I thought, let's just chuck a few chopped pistachios on top. Just going to push those nuts in just a little bit. Now I'm going to put these into the fridge and just let them set and we're going to dry them out later. I'm going to put this through its first spin, the Ninja Creami. Now, if you don't have a Ninja Creami, obviously you could use a really good quality ice cream and just do all these items through it. And I think it'll turn out just as good. All right, so that's been through its first spin now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a good spoonful of the pistachio paste. And I'm going to respin that and then we'll add all these two items as mix-ins. All right, so that's gone through and mixed all that in. So now I'm going to add our chocolate crackle or chocolate spider. And then I'm going to add our pistachios. And now I'm just going to mix that through and I should just gently just agitate them through the actual mixture. All right, so I'm back now. I've given this some time to chill in the fridge and we're ready to crack into it. So also we got our little chocolates that I made with the leftovers and also our ice cream as well we're going to dig into and try that out. They both look amazing as well. But this chocolate, let's see how it turns out. Woohoo! Firstly, it turns out it's probably the biggest nerve-wracking thing ever. Look. Doesn't that look amazing? So I'm not going to do what those other people do and break it open. I'm just going to slice into this. Whoa. Doesn't that look amazing? All right, so let's give all of these a go. So firstly, I've got these here, which are just some dark chocolate melted with the leftover filling. And I've just put some pistachios on top just to give it some green. So these are just so good. They remind me of like a coconut chocolate bar. And it's got that bit of crunch off on the pistachio as well. Absolutely amazing. It's a great thing to just like quickly knock up and you could bring that to a function or during Easter or something like that. Absolutely delicious. So next thing we've got is the ice cream. I just want to taste that before it gets too melted. So that's got some of the pistachio cream and then some of that filling as well, and some pistachios. And I'm going to tell you, that is probably one of my favorite ice creams that I've made in the Ninja Creami. So if you're Ninja Creami, or if you want to knock it out with some ice cream, give that a go. That is absolutely delicious. And lastly, we've got the bar here. This is the reason why we're trying this today. After all that, was it really worth it? And I'm going to say the tempering of the chocolate looks really good. I'm quite happy with it. Here we go. So firstly, I'm going to say the tempering on this is beautiful. It's not melting when I hold it in my hands or anything like that. That is really good. So tempering into sous vide is probably the easiest way that you can do it. And I'll definitely do that again. I wouldn't go too much of a hassle for doing it for everything, but definitely does work. You get that beautiful crunch in the middle there with the pistachio paste and everything. Overall, I think it's really good. Now, what would I do different? I'd probably do it with maybe a darker chocolate. I do think it's a little bit too sweet, but other than that, I think it's absolutely delicious, and I'm really happy that I've tried this. So, absolutely delicious. So, if you want to give this a go, definitely give this a go. And even these other two recipes that I've knocked up with all the leftovers, they turned out absolutely amazing well. So I hope you give them a go. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.